Welcome to the Cricket Betting Podcast. I am Ed Hawkins. This is the podcast which tells you exactly what happens in the biggest cricket matches in the world. We are brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, betting insights, ACCA boost, and more. Go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting for yourself. Talking about world-class betting, we've got some right here, and I don't use that tagline lightly. We do tell you exactly what happens in the biggest of games. We absolutely fried the bookies in the first Ashes test on this podcast and across our VIP tips channel on the Telegram. Don't miss out on getting subbed up in those comments below. Our VIP channel is plus 38 points, 9% ROI. And I make it 20 of our last 21 bets, just 5 losers. I want to come to Paul, who's been in absolute sensational form. How are you doing, Paul?
Good, very good, Ed. It's a very good week. Very glad to be back on the Test cricket trail, to be honest with you. I think we've said it before, that's where our real best stuff lies.
Yeah, there's such terrific value in play, and we're finding in play picks, aren't we, on that VIP channel? We are up in small hours for this Ashes test, so don't worry about that. Richard Mann, sportinglife.com, 14-1 winner on this podcast last time we were here. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Ed. Yeah, great week. Couple of near misses as well. It could have been better. We were hoping for Jamie Smith in the most fours market, but no, went just as predicted, really. And yeah, looking at the way this series has gone, so many ups and downs already for punters like us, I think there's lots to look forward to.
Yeah, now the really good news about that VIP channel that I mentioned is that new users will get 50% off their first cycle. That means if they choose a weekly sub, 50% off the first week. If you choose monthly, 50% off your first month. So that in the comments below, you can get subbed up there. And if you use the promo code ASHES25, you'll get that discount. Really, what are you doing if you're not getting involved? As I said, 38 points up, 9% ROI on VIP. Richard Mann is plus 0.012, I think, on his best bets. Paul, what are you up on your best bets on the pod?
36.7.
36.7. So look, there are profits here on the Cricket Betting Podcast as well. The best bets come at the end of the show. Don't miss them. Got to stick around because they are also got a nice big fat plus in front of them. We are discussing the Ashes, asking where England go from here, and more importantly, where punters go from here, considering prohibitive odds now on Australia across the board. But our best bets likely to come from two crackers: India versus South Africa, first ODI, and New Zealand versus West Indies, the first test match. We've got team news, pitch reports, player win rates, trades, strategies, and obviously match odds looks as well. All the usual fare. Let's check in on those Ashes series markets. Australia into 10-3 on with 10 bet for the series. They lead 1-0, of course. England 11-2. AK bets. 14's the draw with Betfred. Australia to win 3-2 is now 5-1 generally. 2-2 draw, 14-1 AK bets. Is that the best England can hope for? And 5-0 Australia is now 5-1 AK bets, but as short as 11-4 in places. Paul, you were keen on England pre-series. Where are you now?
Well, look, I'm not a big fan of overreacting, right? And England have surprised us in the past, but all that optimism just drained away, didn't it, in no time at all? I mean, it was the batting really that got me. The batting was because that, I expected we'd struggle against their bowlers. They're good bowlers. And I expected they would struggle against our bowlers. I really thought our batting would hold up, but it just looked like so many other England sides and generally other sides in Australia, they just look like they completely bottled it. Under that pressure, in the atmosphere, they just looked completely out of their depth. And that was their best chance for me. Perth was always their best chance to sort of reset the series in their fashion. But no, now I think that they're probably going to just get overwhelmed.
I'm surprised Paul's ditched England so quickly. Rich, I mean, I'm not surprised England played like that at all. I know, but I'm not saying Paul didn't think they had that in the bag. Of course, he knows that. They did it in last Ashes series, didn't they? In 2 tests, they did it against India at the Oval. The previous test they played, they'll do it again in this series. Rich, won't they? This attacking mindset. And we were just talking about it off air, weren't we, Richard? That if Paul is right, is this basically England having their own sort of crisis with pressure and using the Bazball approach as an excuse not to do hard work? And, you know, athletes in all sports can find excuses why they don't perform. And it is a very easy get out for Brooke, Root, Pope to say, well, this is just the way we play, if you're finding it a struggle. But it is the way England play. Sometimes it comes off. I mean, I still think it will come off at some point in this series. But of course, they should have won that first test because all they had to do was work hard for half an hour after lunch. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, 2 really worrying sequences for me. First innings when Jamie Smith was going really well, Stokes got out, the tail came in. You immediately saw Smith change his approach, went ultra aggressive. And to me, that signalled that he had very little faith in the tail. And the way Carr batted, hit on the helmet, then pulled out to deep square leg. Massive outfield at Perth, as we well know. Fielders all around. He just had to duck under them, sway out of the way, take a few blows, bat for his teammate. He didn't want to do that. Mark Wood first ball run down the wicket, big cross-batted shot, top edge. To me, that just signalled a bit of a weak tail, actually. And these guys can bat as well. That's not a over my dead body attitude like you would see from the Australians. That was we're not really bothered here from 7 down. That was really concerning. And then in the second innings, as you said, all about working hard. Look, the old tried and tested rule in Perth is you don't drive on the up, particularly earlier in your innings. You've got to wait and wait, long half volleys, play off the back foot because there's so much seam movement and bounce. Pope straight after lunch, he was on 30, so I'll cut him some slack driving on the up. Crawley out driving on the up. Brook, feet nowhere, driving on the up. And even Joe Root as well. What are these guys thinking? If I know that, and pretty much everyone else you listen to, Mike Hussey was talking about in the build-up to the Test match, why don't England's analysts and England's batsmen know that? And that's what concerns me. It's not about talent. It's not about best 11s, fitness, anything else. It's about the mental approach. Why aren't they taking responsibility? And to be honest, why isn't the coaching team and the analysts getting into them and saying, this is what you do and this is what you don't need to do at specific rounds? There's a soft underbelly to this side, and that's what concerns me.
Yeah, well, it's a refusal basically to work hard for your runs. If England had worked hard for 30 minutes after lunch on that day, and I think Steve Finn on commentary at the break said next half an hour crucial, then England would have won that test. And it's also just a bit strange how Stokes sort of reinvents the history of a game when he's saying that the only batters to score well were those who really attacked. Well, Smith, Atkinson, Carr, in terms of the England players, basically had no choice to attack. And they were able to, send a few to the boundary.
Ollie Pope was England's best player, and he just came out and played like a proper Test match number 3. He played brilliantly, Pope. He was by far and away England's best player, so I'm not sure where Stokes is getting that from. Actually, Darren Lehman on commentary before the head innings said Ollie Pope has been head and shoulders the best batsman on either side in this game, and he wasn't ramping or swatting across the line. He played really well in both innings.
I think we can definitely say, even after the first test, there's a clear difference between these two teams. And it's not trying to get inside the dressing rooms or the collective mindsets of the two teams. Australia are prepared to work hard. England are not. And probably going to be the significant factor in who wins the series from here. Paul, but I mean, it's not bad news, is it? In terms of unders, we were been saying in our preview shows, unders is going to be big, extreme unders. Do we keep going with that? Particularly when England are batting?
Well, and Australia, I think. The lines are too high, as we showed. It started way above what we were saying was the average par line at Perth. Same thing, Brisbane, the average par line is around 300, but that's day matches. This is a night match, so expect par to be well below that. But I think Australia, that's England's one hope, but Australia's batting is still massively problematic. Take that Travis Headings out of it, when England were demoralised, and they did look extremely weak, as they have throughout, and England do have the bowlers to hurt them. But whether England can make their own runs, I don't know. I expect that we're still going to see par going off around 275, 300, 325 even, and that's an unders play, definitely.
Yeah, certainly be looking at unders play England, and if they're batting under lights, with a relatively new ball, timing crucial in this pink ball test. But that is for the preview show on the Ultimate Test Guide to match number 2, Ultimate Betting Guide to test number 2. That comes on Monday. Rich, I mean, Australia have actually solved problems by accident, haven't they? Head opening for Khawaja. Khawaja, big problem coming into the series. Presumably, Head retains that spot. Khawaja goes out of the side now. They've got Inglis in the squad, who they can bring into the middle order and play that head role. He comes in off the back of a ton. Cummins is not back for this second test, though, but Scott Boland has found some form. Doggett looked capable of certainly getting some shape and could be dangerous with a pink ball that front on action. I mean, just everything going right for Australia.
Yeah, I mean, by accident, they could have stumbled upon a really good formula. I actually think if Khawaja's fit, he'll play an open. And from an England point of view and a purist point of view, because I want to see a competitive series, I hope they go that way because I think Khawaja's a big problem for Australia now against England's extreme pace. But if he isn't fit, I actually think that would help Australia get head up there. And like you say, Inglis or Webster, or they could look further afield going into the series. Someone like McSweeney could come back in the middle order. I hope Khawaja plays personally because I think he opens it up for England a little bit. And look, England, Paul's right. They've got the attack to hurt Australia. I actually think going to Brisbane's perfect for England. Day and night, it's a little bit funky, it's a bit different. Sometimes you need to time declarations, so you're bowling with a new ball under lights. You might only have a couple of sessions batting in the daylight when conditions are generally a lot better for batting. But that might suit England. They might say, right, let's try and get 300 in 2 sessions here and then declare. That's the sort of thing that this England team have always been quite good at. And look, you mentioned it off air, Ed, but Stuart Broad said today about day-night cricket being a bit of a lottery. I'm not sure how he gets to that, given that every time England play a day-night against Australia, they've been hammered. It can't be that much of a lottery. But it is different. It is funky. It might just suit England. And look, they're 3.2 on the Betfair Exchange at the moment. I mean, God, they were in front for a long time in Perth. It is tempting. It is tempting.
Yeah, well, Australia 4-7 generally for the second test. As I said, full preview and ultimate guide to the best plays on this podcast recording Monday night. England 9-4 Ladbrokes. You mentioned Betfair Exchange prices, Richard. Draw 12s, Hills, Ball Sports. Irrelevant. 0 draws in 24, I think, day-night games. Anyway, we will tell you exactly what to expect in terms of when wickets fall in that day-nightery. We've got an in-play guide for that on that podcast, which comes on Monday. Little taster for you. Stark, 50% win rate in day-night. First innings top bowler for Australia, getting 9-4 Star Sports. I don't think that'll be around after the weekend. Anything else to add before we do move on to some games and find some best bets, Paul and then Rich?
I just think I hate to be someone who tips up silly odds on chances because obviously I'm not going to do that. But 12-1 the draw is too short. It's not happening. Well, you've got to look at the series score and the 4 or 5 result options. There's no way there's going to be 2 draws in this series. Probably won't be 1. I would personally opt for 4-1 Australia right now, 5.2 on the exchange, just to make sure you keep the England win on side as well.
Rich?
Well, just I want to flag up the brilliant positions anti-post. I mean, Stark player of the series, top Australia bowler. Stark's, we put him up at 12s, but he's now 5-2 for overall player of the series. And to be honest, given his pink ball record, given that Australia are ahead of the game, given that Cummins isn't back this week, I don't think that's an awful price, to be honest, about Stark. Labuschagne's 9-2 top Australia series batsman. Travis Head's got a really good run on him. And look, if it's a scoring series, Head might be away and gone. But Steve Smith got nothing last week, so I think you'd have probably taken that actually if you were a Labuschagne batter. You'd rather Head, excuse the pun, be ahead of you than Steve Smith. So I'm not giving up on Labuschagne.
Alrighty, 0% margin feature at 7bet Sportsbook. The 0% margin feature at 7bet is designed to offer betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of their features on 7bet.co.uk/features. Let's get a game on. It's India versus South Africa, first ODI. It's Sunday, 0800 Ranchi. TNT Sports is the TV channel if you want to be watching that. The win market, India, 4-11 bet MGM, Virgin bet, South Africa 12-5 with 365. I'll give you some possible lineups. Jaiswal, Rohit, Kohli, Shreyas, Rahul Pant, Jadeja, Washington, Kuldeep, Harshit, and Arshdeep. South Africa, de Kock opening the batting with either Markram or Bavuma. Then we've got De Zorzi at 4, Britska, Brevis, Bosch, Janssen, Maharaj, Berger, and then Ngidi or Sabrayan, the latter being a spinner, depending on what this pitch is going to do, and all-rounder as well, Sabrayan. So he add a little bit of batting depth. India have won 22 of their last 26 at home in this format. South Africa have 5 wins in their last 11 away from home. 2-1 defeat in Pakistan last time, but not at full strength. Paul, we've got to be a bit careful about succumbing to the noise about India because of that underperforming test team. The ODI lot do not lose very often, do they?
No, they don't. And I think this is probably the World Cup final, if you like, of ODI sides. I do think India are definitely the best, and I think South Africa are probably second best at the moment. India have played a lot of cricket, different formats, and been in and out, to say the least, poor in the tests. To me, the bigger picture is South Africa. I keep saying it, we're saying it for a couple of years now, and it is broadly coming off. That is a potentially a superb cricketing outfit for the next few years. They've got so much backup. The squad is so big. I think that they've had bottle issues in the past, let them down in major events. The last couple they've got to the late stages. Since then, they've become the World Test champions. I think they've got a decent record against India in white ball in recent years, especially including over there. So I think they're good value. I think 3.5 is way too big on a side that with their recent form.
Richard, views on South Africa? They don't have Rabada, of course, but it doesn't really seem to matter with this South Africa team.
No, I like team there, but I'm a big Berger fan, and I'm with Paul. I think they're a really good developing side. That World Championship final winners clearly done wonders for them, hasn't it? They just look rock solid, riding on a crest of a wave. Brevis coming back is brilliant. I'm not reading too much into Pakistan. Conditions were quite extreme in that series. I do think conditions are key here because I think South Africa just want a flatter pitch, nullify India's spin, and their own batting will be absolutely fine, and they'll definitely give India a run for the money at 3.5. I think if it was turned out to be a raging turner, which I don't actually expect here, then obviously India with their spinners, although they didn't show a lot batting against spin in that Test series. So I'm with Paul. I think 3.5 is massive.
Yes. What will the pitch do? Not a huge amount to go on, unfortunately, which is something we never like as cricket bettors. Ranchi, the venue, only 2 ODI in the last 5 years. Australia's 313 beat India's 281 in 2022. And then South Africa couldn't defend 278 against India, lost by 7 wickets same year. Paul, have you found any angles in your stats work on the ground?
Well, there is only a very limited sample, so you can't make a strong statistical argument. But my view anyway is that 50 over cricket in almost any Indian ground, par is above 300, well above 300. My limited memory of Ranchi and looking at it is it was a big runs place. It's above average for runs and sixes. If you think of the World Cup here, par was around 320, 330. I think we'll see that again. I think that this is going to be a very high scoring game. And that again suits South Africa.
Okie doke. Rich, who wins the match?
Well, I like South Africa. I think this is a really good option to just do the trade, really. 3.5, lay back at 1.8. I hope South Africa just get ahead at least. I think that's fair enough. Just get your stake out. I know we did something similar on the VIP recently, didn't we? Just very simple with the West Indies. He actually didn't win that game, but it was, I think they were 4.3, weren't the Paul, and we just put in a place an order to lay back at 1.8. Really simple stuff.
Yeah.
They got ahead of the game. Job done, really.
Paul, any other angles?
Well, again, look, waiting lines, because it's in total runs or total sixes, but I think this is a place where you can get plenty of sixes. South Africa very strong in that department in recent years. I think you're probably looking at 15 plus sixes.
All right. We've got player win rates coming up, but just checking that we haven't got any more nuggets from you, Richard. Anything more to add?
Yeah, no, I have actually. So Gleiswell for Gill, and I think Gleiswell's got to be a seller, big seller at 30.5 with 7 bet. He's in innings runs. Jansen's so good for the left-handers. Got Gleiswell out 3 out of 4 times in that recent Test series. Jansen's average against left-handers in ODI cricket is something I've talked about before. He's only 12. Now, his average against right-handers is only 18, so it's pretty good, but clearly favours the left-handed. And I suspect Jansen will open the bowling with Berger, Andre Berger. I'm another left-arm, big fan. So his average against right-handers in ODI cricket, 33.60, but 14.77 against the lefties. So 2 brilliant bowlers against left-handers. So for me, that makes Gleiswell a sell at 30.5, which I thought was quite a high line anyway.
Great. Anything to add, Paul?
Yeah, I'm just going to explain the run strategy, the usual ODI run strategy again, because I think it's a really good opportunity. I think the World Cup here was excellent for doing this. So we were saying that the par was above 300. So I'm looking to find at the start of the game 30 or a 40 run middle, for example, back in over 310 at evens, laying 350 at 3-1. That's the sort of bet I was having a lot during the World Cup. So that's 3-1 on that 40 run middle. Very, very high chance it's going to land around there. And then in running, again, looking around where the average is, because par's pretty solid in 50 over cricket, try and build a middle around that area by betting odds against. So, for instance, if the par is 330, I'd want to back 350 or over, maybe at 2-1. And then I'd look to lay that back at 370 for a shorter odds, say even money, to get the 350 to 370 on in the bank. Hopefully, we'll do a bit of this on the VIP during this match, and it'll be easy to show.
Yeah, get subbed up on that VIP channel in the comments below. Let's look at player win rates. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them to pick out for you. We've already mentioned how much we like a burger. Come to him in a minute. Rohit, 7 wins from last 14, 2 years. Form guide, even money shots, won so consistently. 7-2 with Sky Bet, Power, Betfair, Sportsbook. Britska for South Africa, 3 wins from 9, 6-1 Hills. Berger, Paul has mentioned him, very consistent on top bowler. Berger's 5 wins from 12, 7-2 Hills. Maharaj also into the mix, 4 wins from 13, 7-2 Sky Bet, Power, and Betfair Sportsbook. Richard. Richard, you're on. You put yourself on mute because of your cough. But yeah, there you go. There
I
you
do
go.
apologise. I'm nailing the Jakemans here. Yeah, so I started off looking at big prices, top batsman market. Initially India and then South Africa. Corbin Bosch 25 to 1 with 7 bet. But then the more I look at Bosch, and I do think South Africa will go well, I think he's actually probably a better bet in the player performance market. So I'm going to mention him here. So last 5 ODIs, Corbin Bosch made up at 0, bad start, but 51, 87, 70, and 52. So 4 out of the last 5, he's easily surpassed his line for this match, which is 38.5, Paddy Power, Betfair, and Sky Bet. So I think my strategy will probably be Corbin Bosch, decent bet, player performance, and then maybe a tiny bit on that 25, 28 to 1 top South Africa batsman. He's a really dangerous, dynamic all-round cricketer.
Paul, what you got?
Arshdeep Singh, top India bowler, had a great series against South Africa away last time. And I think if you look through his overall career, he's fairly profitable generally in white ball. But if you take Bumrah and Varun Chakravarti out of the side, then he's massively profitable, and they're not in this. And just on the player performance, depends who plays. But I was looking at Rickleton 29.5 and Markram 33.5. Both of them been very solid top order. I don't know if Rickleton will play, should do in my book. But you'd get your every chance to points as a wicket keeper there if he plays. And Markram, every chance you might take a wicket because I expect he'll bowl a few overs.
Lovely stuff. Which of those make it into the best bets at the end of the show? Stick around. The VIP channel you can sub up to below in the comments. Use that promo code ASHES25 for 50% off. Reminder, we're 9% ROI. Also, don't forget to check out crickstats.ai. That's the best betting tool you can find anywhere to make sensible and rational, statistically based stats bets. We certainly use it to help find our winners. So get signed up to Crick Stats as well. Our final game is New Zealand versus West Indies. That's a Monday start day with 2200 start time. New Zealand 2's on with 888. The draw is 5-2. Lads Coral, Sky Bet, Windies 12, Xenobet, Bet Victor, Betway. Weather forecast is looking okay to me with AccuWeather Met Office. Have some one, I think, poor weather forecast, but that's the only one. So that draw strangely short. Possible 11s for you. Kiwis, Latham, Young, Williamson, Ravindra, Mitchell, Blundell, Bracewell, Satner, Folks, Henry, Duffy, Windies, Campbell, Chandapur, King, Athanaz, Hope, Hodge, Chase, Greaves, Warrican, Seals, and then Kamal Roach or Anderson Phillip. New Zealand snapped a 4-game losing streak versus England in Hamilton in December. They are a 6-5 record last 3 years at home. West Indies have won 3 from 15 away from home. And 13 of those 11 defeats that they've suffered absolute hammerings. Paul, thoughts on the West Indies at chunky odds?
Well, yeah, I think without saying anything positive about them, that's a value bet. I think the nature of this match, there is a bit of a rain threat. There's a lot of patchy rain around. I don't think that'll be enough to get a draw by any stretch of imagination because things happen quickly there. But it does mean that there's every chance it'll be a fairly low scoring match. It'll come down to a chase. And, if you can get 12 to 1, 14 to 1 West Indies, that's a not bad position. So I'm thinking of doing that as a back to lay, doing about whatever the starting odds are, hoping it might even drift a bit more because there might be a bit of rain around the first morning. Stay back 1 point at 12s or 14s. And I think I would just try and double my money at, say, 5, laying back at 5, leaving a bit of extra profit if they do win.
Rich, are you encouraged by West Indies winning in Pakistan not that long ago? I mean, they're well beaten by Australia as well in the autumn, but they were just some competitive streaks. You, I was not saying as encouraged as Paul, but there is something there for them.
Yeah, I think so. I think competitive against Australia is the series I'd home in on. And looking at last week, that form's looking better all the time. There were periods in that series where they were on top of Australia. They just couldn't cope with Australia's first choice, may I say as well, first choice pace attack there in terrible batting conditions. And even you go back the summer before last when they came to England, they had moments where they put England under pressure. I think Hodge coming back in, he's a brilliant decision. They've got the ball into worry New Zealand. I don't think they'll win. I don't think they'll win, but I definitely think they can be competitive. And Paul's strategy that he's put forward there, that looks pretty sound to me.
They've had a warm-up game as well. West Indies is also always worth mentioning because they're so rare. Hagley Oval's the venue. 7 tests last 5 years. 5 of those won by the team batting second. 0 draws. Your first innings runs per wicket averages 32.4, 40.7 in the second, 26.9 in the third, 33.2 in the fourth. Australia chased 279 with 3 wickets to spare in 2024, and England chased 104 in 12 overs in November. West Indies, by the way, just for in play betters, pens and papers at the ready, the average runs per wicket in the first match innings versus the established world order at test matches, e.g. not bang or zim, is 228. So we're always looking to short that West Indies runs line, particularly when there's a 40-50 run partnership in play. Any ground spots, Paul?
Well, I think the overheads are really going to be critical. I think when conditions are good for batting, they're going to score very quickly. Last 4 tests, their minimum runs is 1170. Compare that to the numbers seen in Australia, it's way higher. One really noticeable angle here is Matt Henry's record, 35 wickets in his last 5 tests here. So there's certainly some potential, I would have thought, for overcast conditions, New Zealand bowling, heavy extreme unders on West Indies, hoping Henry just runs through them all.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Matt Henry on player win rates in a bit. Rich, anything else?
Yeah, well, like something I always talk about Test cricket in New Zealand runs third and fourth innings because, and I can't see the pitch right now, but quite often you get really green looking pitches early in, not just here, but across New Zealand, early in Test matches. And then the sun comes through and the grass dries away. Conditions get better for batting. It was high scoring last year, but pretty good third and fourth innings. But the 2024 Test here against Australia, 3-7-2 scored in the third innings. Then Australia chased down 281 for 7, and they'd been in big trouble in that innings. Carey and Mitch Marsh got them home. And then 2023 Test against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka made 302 in the third innings. That was way above par, because I remember it well. And then New Zealand chased down 285 for 8 and to win the match. So I definitely think, especially if we get low first inning scores, like Paul said, Greengrass, Matt Henry, I think you'll see a knock-on effect with the runs lines and below third and fourth innings, and I think that will be the time to play overs.
Great stuff. Let's look at some of those player win rates, and we'll combine them with some statistics on venue form. Williamson, 582 runs in 4 matches at the Hagley Oval. Daryl Mitchell's also got a nice record at this ground. He's got 650s or more in 7 games. I mentioned Matt Henry, and so did Paul. 36 wickets in 6 matches at the Hagley Oval, strike rate of 39. He's got a 72% win rate on top Kiwi first innings bowler in your last 11. I'm going to get you some odds on Henry in a second. I'm just going to check on those. Paul, can I come to you for players, please? I presume you're just going to talk about Matt Henry again.
Yeah, 5-2 top first innings bowler, 15-2 man of the match. 15-2 man of the match looks really solid to me. And I'm very interested to see what his player performance line is if it comes out, if anyone publishes that, and maybe some total wickets. On the West Indies side, I'm a little bit disappointed with the price, to be honest. I was hoping you might get some decent prices about Jaden Seals. To me, he's far and away their best pace bowler. The money's improved a bit, and conditions should be pretty suitable here.
Thank you very much. I'll give you a win rate on Jaden Seals in a second. Kane Williamson, 36% win rate on top Kiwi bat from a reasonably good study sample 3, Sky Bet Power Betfair Sportsbook. The Matt Henry price for you for top home bowler in that first innings. You're getting 5-2, as Paul said. That's Sky Bet. Check Betfair Sportsbook as well on that. You might get 5-2 with them. Let's go to Richard, who I suspect is going to talk about Kaveem Hodge, who's 1 win in 11 on top Windies bat. Is he more of a milestone wager, Rich, perhaps?
Both. I think first innings, I'd maybe avoid the milestones if conditions potentially more tricky, but I definitely think that he's their best player for these conditions. And you just look through his record for context. He made 120 against England at Trent Bridge. The pitch wasn't bad, to be honest. 55 at Edgbaston in that series. He made 71 in a day-nighter at Brisbane when the ball hooped around. It was that Shamar Joseph test. When the ball seams and swings, Hodge generally shows himself to be the West Indies' best batsman. He plays the ball really late, got a good defence. So I'm pretty keen on here. He made 50-odd not out in the warm-up game, by the way, although a few of them made runs. So I do like him. I can't believe he was dropped, but he was dropped having not made runs in conditions that are different to these ones. I could get with Henry all day long. What I would say is, not everyone's still priced his test matchup. That's why we've delayed the pod, actually, because we're waiting for more prices, but might be worth, if we can, near the time. Matt Henry just 5 wickets in the first innings. That'll be a big advice. I'd definitely look at that. And I quite like Tom Blundell. Again, there's not enough prices out yet. He's around the 7-1 mark, but I'm going to delay sort of putting him up properly until we get his price. But I think West Indies could take early wickets. I agree with Paul. I think Seals is outstanding. Roach will bowl well at those left-handers. And I think Blundell at number 6, number 7, he's always underrated, Tom Blundell. So I'll probably go with him. There's some 7s knocking about, but I'm going to put him up, but wait to put his price up in the Telegram channel, because I expect we might get 10-1 when everyone's up.
Feels top West Indies bowler, as Paul mentioned, very, very little to beat here, surely. Kamal Roach getting on a bit. Seals has a 30% win rate last 2 years, 5-2 Sky Bet, Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook. Thank you very much for those. We've got our best bets coming up. Just time to tell you about a 7-bet offer for podcast listeners. Use the code WFB10. Bet £10, get a £10 free bet. Minimum £10 stake. Minimum Oz, even money. Maximum winnings £100. 5-day expiry. Bonus T's and C's apply. There we go. It is best bets time. Both Richard and Paul have 5 units to spend. Let's go to Richard Mann first for his best bets following that 14s winner last time.
Right, okay, yeah. Not as big this week, I'm afraid, but we'll kick off 1.5 points. Yashvaisi Jaiswal runs under 30.5 at 5-6. That's with 7-bet. 2 points Corbin Bosch player performance over 38.5. Paddy Power, Betfair and Sky Bet. That's 5-6. And then over in the test match, 0.75 point Kaveem Hodge, top West Indies first innings bat versus New Zealand at 5-1, 7-bet standout there. And then finish off 0.75 point Tom Blundell, top first innings New Zealand batsman. I'll update his price in the Telegram because not enough out yet.
And 5 units to spend for Paul, please.
Okay, so I have 1.5 points South Africa to beat India at 3.5. I have 1 point back to lay West Indies at whatever the starting price is on Betfair, presumably it'll be about 14. And I'll place an order to lay 2 points, double the stake at 5.0. And in the New Zealand match, I'll have 1.5 points Matt Henry, top first innings bowler for New Zealand at 5-2. And 1 point Matt Henry, man of the match at 15-2.
Thank you very much. This has been the Cricket Betting Podcast with me, Ed Hawkins, Paul Krishnamurty and Richard Mann. Don't forget to sub up to that VIP channel, which is returning profits of 9% ROI, and use the promo code ASHES25 to get 50% off your subscription. We are recording again on Monday night to bring you the ultimate betting guide to the second Ashes test. We'll see you then.